Crime authorities today warned that Australia is in the grip of an epidemic of the drug ice, with a massive surge in its supply on our streets. Reporter Rowan Wen joins us live with more details. Rowan?
Tracy, the Crime Commission has basically confirmed what police have been saying for some time now, and that's that Australia is in the grip of an ice pandemic. Now, the stats speak for themselves. Seizures of ice at our borders up a staggering 516%. And of course, the drug has been linked to serious violent crime. Now, we've been looking at this for some time, and recently we got a tip-off from a viewer about illegal ice parties that are happening in city car parks on the weekend. I have to say, initially, I didn't actually believe this story because I thought the users wouldn't be so brazen. But I was wrong. They are that brazen, and as you're about to see, they're actually willing to take drugs with total strangers. I kid you not. Let's take a look.
Australia, is one of the biggest consumers of methamphetamine.
Every single time he smokes someone, he has a hook with them, or wants to have a hook with them.
They think it's just like any other drug. They don't know that it's as bad as it is.
They say he was high on the drug ice during the pursuit.
It's never far from the headlines. The entire country seems to be experiencing a tragic ice age.
They seized ice worth nearly $500 million.
Murders, assaults, robberies, all connected to the highly addictive methamphetamine nicknamed ice. Tonight, our undercover investigation shows just how brazen ice users have become. Our cameras will take you into the secret ice parties that are happening in cities right across the country. The drug ice is no longer only found inside grubby drug dens. It's being used in our city car parks, forcing police to conduct raids every weekend, draining valuable resources. These are a current affairs cameras approaching the first ice party of the evening. Incredibly, this is all happening right in the middle of Melbourne. That's Parliament House, where the laws are made, and sadly, that's where the laws are broken. Week after week, our city car parks are filling up with young people who come together for the sole purpose of smoking the illegal drug ice, which is also sometimes called shard. Some party goers stand outside the cars, drinking and keeping watch for police, while others sit inside their vehicles. And they're so brazen and addicted, they don't seem to care who's watching.
I'll blow out, get me an amber.
Hey, what do you have on you tonight? I want to go out.
Juice.
Within minutes of entering the car park, our producer has found a carload of ice users. The men in the car are so blasé about their drug use, they offer our producer a seat and talk her through the drugs they're taking. Tonight, they're mixing ice with another drug called GHB, or juice. Now, remember, our producer is a complete stranger to these young men. She's never met them. But they assume she's here for the weekly ice party, and so they make her feel welcome, explaining how they sourced their drugs.
Hayley, are you there? Chemicals from the laundry.
That's all that is.
The youths can remain in the car parks for most of the night as the effects of the drugs kick in.
Most of them will spend more time in a car park or outside than they actually will in the club itself.
Nightclub worker Amy Williamson says patrons have begun drifting away from the clubs because they can't smoke ice inside them.
If they're in a toilet, the security will usually knock after a while if you've taken too long.
Across town, in another nearby car park, we see police arriving to conduct a regular patrol. Outside the car park, police search vehicles for drugs and drug paraphernalia.
One of the issues with methamphetamine is that it's such a potent drug that people rapidly develop problems on it.
Professor Dan Loveman is an addiction expert from the Treatment and Research Centre Turning Point. He's well aware of the tragic popularity of these weekly car park parties.
It's really in your face in public arenas.
Between 70,000 and 100,000 Australians become addicted to ice every year. And Dan says it doesn't take much to get completely out of control.
When you ask those people how often they've used it, so it's only about 5 times that people have used it before they've actually started developing problems with the drug. So it's an incredibly potent drug, and you don't have to take it that much to suddenly start having problems with it.
Dan believes the reason ice has become the drug of choice for so many is because of its widespread availability.
These drugs could be manufactured here in Australia, which is a bit different to other drugs like heroin, which, for example, are imported from Southeast Asia.
And that's why this drug has become big business. It's cheap to make, and tragically, there is no shortage of takers. When a dealer is busted, some other grub usually quickly takes their place. And of course, you don't have to be on ice to be hurt by it.
Certainly, there's a direct link between methamphetamine and violence.
According to police, at least 12 Victorian murders that were committed or tried in the courts in the last 2 years were all linked to ice. That includes the suspected murder of young mum, Madison Murphy West.
It's hard to explain sometimes. The anger gets that bad that you could go crazy.
Recently, Maddie's friends and family gathered to celebrate her life and to raise money to educate her son Noah. Police believe Maddie was killed by her ice-addicted partner, Troy Boothie, who then tried to make the death look like a suicide. Incredibly, the very night Maddie died, her partner, who was also Noah's father, was back out on the streets selling ice. Maddie's uncle Shannon says the drug not only contributed to Maddie's death, it's also taking over his suburb.
I think it's the worst thing since the start of time, really, and how big it's getting and how cheap it is and the people using it.
And if you needed further proof of the devastating effects ice has on users, you only need to see these shocking before and after mugshots from the United States. Normal-looking people transformed into zombies by their drug abuse. Professor Dubman says it's important that parents look for signs that their child could be using ice.
If people are sort of out late a lot, not sleeping, skipping meals, not interested in eating, so it's a really worrying trend that methamphetamine is on the rise.
Dreadful. If someone you know needs help because of drug addiction, you can phone this national hotline number, 1800 888 236. And A Current Affair has passed the findings of our investigation onto police.